Hello everyone, welcome to Tech and Target. I am Hemant. So this is the third video of the TCS Code Vita series. So without any further ado, let's get started. So here is the question for today. So the name of the question is the chocolate store. So there is a person called Abhishek who loves chocolates a lot. So whenever he gets them, so he stores them so that he can eat them later whenever he wants to. Now, so he has recently received N boxes of chocolates, each containing CI chocolates, where CI represents the total number of chocolates in the ith box, right? Now Abhishek wants to store them in a single box. Okay, so the only constraint here is that he can choose any two boxes and store their joint contents in an empty box only. Now, so there are infinite number of empty boxes. Okay, so let me explain you this thing. So there is a person called Abhishek who likes chocolates. Now one day he receives n boxes of chocolates, right? So he receives n boxes of chocolates, and in each box, so in each of the box there are CI chocolates, right? Where each CI represents the total number of chocolates in that particular box. Now, so he had n boxes of chocolates, right? Now he wants to store all of them in a single box. Instead of storing them in n boxes, he wants to store them in a single box. Now there is a constraint here. Now he can choose any two boxes and store the joint contents in an empty box only. Now it is said that, so if he want to put all of those chocolates into a single box, he cannot do it directly. Like, he cannot put all of the chocolates together inside of a single box. Now for that, instead of doing that, so what he is allowed to do is he can take one empty box, and what he can do is he can take two boxes with chocolates, and from that two boxes he can pour them into a single box, right? Now the two boxes gets reduced to one, right? So this is how he is expected to do that. Now they are also saying that there are infinite number of empty boxes, right? So there is no constraint for getting the number of empty boxes, right? So there are infinite supply of these empty boxes. Now at a time he can pick any two boxes for transferring, and if both the boxes contain x and y number of chocolates respectively, then it takes him exactly x plus y seconds of time. As he's eager to collect all of them, he has approached you to tell him the minimum time in which all the chocolates can be collected. Now they say that, so if there are two if there are two boxes with CI chocolates in each of them, now what he can do is he can select those two boxes and he can take one more empty box, and in that empty box he can choose he can take both of the contents of the boxes, and he can put that into the single box. Now the thing is, for doing that, if there are x chocolates in box one and there are y chocolates in the second box, then to put both x plus y chocolates into the single box, it takes x plus y seconds of time. That means if there are x chocolates in box one and y chocolates in box two, then it will take x plus y time to put all of those chocolates, all of those x plus y chocolates into a single box. Now this is what you have to take care of, right? So this is one condition. Now what you are asked to find out, so we are actually asked to find out the minimum time in which all of those chocolates can be put to a single box, right? So that's what we want to find out. Now with this assumption that you have understood the problem, now we'll move to the input and output formats, right? So the first line of input is the number of test cases. So it's very common. So first line contains number t, which is the number of test cases that are available. Then again, so each test case is containing two inputs. The first input of each test case is number of boxes. We'll be getting how many number of boxes are there totally. And in the second input, so we'll be getting n integers delimited by white space denoting the number of chocolates in each box. Now in the second line we'll be able to get n integers where each integer denotes the number of chocolates in the ith box, right? So this is what we are getting. Now coming to output format, so we just have to print the minimum time required in seconds for each of the test cases. So for each test case you have to print what is the minimum time required to to store all of those chocolates in a single box. So we have to do that. And after that, so for each test case, you have to output on a new line. So we have to use println, right? So if you use println, it will the control will go automatically to the next line after printing whatever you have written in the print statement, right? Now we have constraints that there will be test cases from 1 to 10. That's quite good. And we are having the n until 10,000, okay? And the contents of the box, that means the number of chocolates in each box may range from 1 to 10 lakhs, right? So it is 10 lakhs, yes. No, it is not. So it is actually 1 lakh. So the number of chocolates in the box may range from 1 till 1 lakh, right? So that is what it is. Now, after this, so they have given some example test cases, and so we will understand the test cases. But before that, I want you to let you learn how to think of solving this kind of problems. So the first thing that you have to make sure of is, so you have to see what you have to find out, right? So you have to first of all observe what is the thing that the question is asking for you to do. So the question is asking you to print the minimum time required. Now there is one most important keyword here, which is minimum, right? So this is the most important thing here. So whenever you come across this keywords like minimum or maximum or smallest, or if you come across these words, right? So these are kind of called as optimization problems, right? So these are normally called as optimization problems, right? So whenever you come across problems that that is asking you to print the minimum or maximum, then what you have to first understand is, so they belong to a class of problems called as optimization problems. And these optimization problems normally will be found out by two methods, right? So one is the greedy approach. And then the second one is the dynamic programming approach, right? Now, the first thing is greedy. So what do you mean by greedy? Greedy is something, so you want to calculate the best at each moment, and finally you will be able to get the final result. Now, this is what greedy approach is. Greedy is very simple. It's just, you being greedy. So greedy at every moment. So you'll calculate at one instance what is the best output that you will be able to get. And for that, next you will calculate the best output for for one more input, and then you'll keep on doing that until you reach your endpoint. So that's how you solve greedy problems. Now what happens in dynamic programming is a optimization to recursion. And in dynamic programming, what happens is you will find out all the ways of solving that problem, and you will take only the best output. If they ask for minimum, you will take the minimum one, or if they ask for maximum one, you will take the maximum one. Now, first thing is, so whenever you come across questions like minimum or maximum, first you think in terms of greedy approach. And if you see that it is not able to be solved using greedy approach, then you go for dynamic programming, right? So this is how you will be able to solve that. Now, so I've told you greedy, right? So what is greedy here? So greedy means you are trying to get the best output at each point. Let's say, for example, if you're given 5 stages, right? So if there are 5 stages, let's say stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, and stage 5. So you will calculate what is the best output for you at the stage 1, right? Now you will add that to your answer. And also you will calculate what is the best stage or best value or best output at the stage 2, and you will add that to your result. And the same way you will calculate what will be the best output at stage 3, you will add that to your result. Then you'll go for stage 4, and you'll find out what is the best output for you at that particular moment, and you'll add that to your result. And you'll go to stage 5, and you'll find out what is the best possible output for your question. And finally you will add that to your answer. And from this you will be able to solve your entire answer, and you will be able to return that answer. So this is how you solve your greedy problems. And I have told you about dynamic programming as well. But this particular problem can be directly solved using greedy. How do we do that? Let's see that how can we do this using greedy approach. Now they say that, so this is the number of test cases. This is T, which is 1. So we are having only one test case. and this is n, which denotes the number of boxes that you will be getting, and this is the number of chocolates in each box. In the first box we are having 1 chocolate, in the second box we are having 2 chocolates, in the third box we are having 3 chocolates, and in the fourth box we are having 4 chocolates. This is basically number of chocolates in each box. So it is number of chocolates in each box. That's it. And the output for this question, for this particular test case, is 19, and we will see how we are getting that. And in the same way for this example as well, it is C, it is N, and this is number of chocolates, and the output for this should be 34. How we are getting that? Let's go ahead and see that, right? Okay, so here it is. Now, so according to the first question, so we were given 4 boxes, right? So the value of N was 4, and we had 4 containers, and 4 containers or 4 boxes, and first box had 1 chocolate, second box had 2 chocolates, third box had 3 chocolates, and fourth box had 4 chocolates. Now, what the problem is saying you is, so you will take one empty box, and you will initialize one answer variable, and you will automatically, so definitely you will be initializing it with 0. All right. Now, so answer means it is a time required for you to put all these particular chocolates into a single box. Now, how do we do that? So we take any 2 chocolate boxes, and we will put both of them boxes, both of the contents of both the boxes into a single box, right? And the time taken will be the number of chocolates in box 1 and the number of chocolates in box 2. So if you add both of them, then you will be getting how much time it is required to put those chocolates in a single box. Now, so first we will add both of this, right? So what is 1 plus 2? 1 plus 2 is 3. So to put these two chocolates in a single box, so it will take 3 seconds, right? Now the number of chocolates in the new box will be 3, right? Now this both of them add together will result in 3. So the time taken for the person to put all these chocolates into this particular box is 1 plus 2, which is 3. So for this 0, we will add 3 seconds. Now, so what are the remaining boxes we are having? So that is 3, and we have 4 now. So we are having 3 and 3. So if you want to put into a new box, how can we do that? We'll take one empty box. So we'll add both of these. Now, how many chocolates will be there in this box? So this is 3, this is 3. So 3 plus 3 will be 6. Now, how much time it was required to put both of the, all the chocolates of box 1 and box 2 into this new box? So it is x plus y, right? So x plus y in the sense, this is x, this is y. So 3 plus 3 is 6. So we will add that to your result, and we will add that. Now, what is the remaining box? It is just 4. So we will take that. Now, we are having only 2 boxes. Now we'll take one more new box, and we will add both of these chocolates into a new box. Now, what is 6 plus 4? It is 10. So totally there are 10 chocolates. Now, what is the time required for a person to put all these 10 chocolates into this particular box? It is 6 plus 4, again 10. Now we are able to get only one box. The moment you reach to a one box, then your answer is over. Now you just have to add all of this, right? So 10 plus 6 is 16, 16 plus 3 is 19. Then 19 plus 0 is 19. So your answer is 19, and you will directly return your answer, right? So this is how you will solve it. Now, so is that what we were required to solve? Yes, that is the thing that we were required to solve. So we were able to get 19. But so in the second test case, what was happening? So basically, so instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, we were given 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, right? So we were given in the first container, there were 5. Then in the second container, there were 4 chocolates. In the third, there were 3. In the fourth, we were having 2. And in the last one, we were having 1 chocolate, right? Now, answer will be again initialized to 0. Now here, if we go ahead and if we follow this same approach, like if we go on from starting to end, we will get a wrong answer here. We will get a much more bigger answer than what is the minimum, because so we have to make sure that you keep on adding the smaller values, right? So if this is actually in a reverse sorted way, right? So what is the sorted way of this? The sorted way of this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So, but this is actually in a reverse sorted way, which is non-increasing sequence, right? So when you have a non-increasing sequence, what happens is the sum that you will be able to get from these things will be more, right? So if you add this 1 plus 2, you will get only 3. But if you add this 5 plus 4, you will get 9. And that 9 you are adding to your answer. So, and what you are doing is, again, you will add this 9 with 3, and that will turn out to be 12. And you will keep on adding that to your answer. So that will be very huge, right? So if you compare to this, so if you add 1 plus 2, that will get you 3. And if you add 3 plus 3, that will give you 6, right? So if you compare this with this, you will definitely get a smaller answer or a smaller time required for this. So for that reason, what you will do is, whatever kind of array you are given, so first you will make sure that you will sort the given array, right? So first you will sort the given array, then you will make the then you will follow the approach, right? So first of all, so what is a sorted form of 5 4 3 2 1? So the sorted order of 5 4 3 2 1 would be, so 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, and then 5. Now what we will do is, so we will just follow the old approach here only, right? Here as well. Now what we will do, we'll take a new container, we'll add both of this. Now 1 plus 2 would be 3, and that will be in a new container. So initially these were new containers, right? Now we'll take 1 plus 2 and we'll put that in a new box. Now what is the time required? So it is 3. So we'll add 3 to a previous answer. Now we are having 3, 4, 5 as it is. Now if you add 3 plus 3, what will happen? It will be 6. Then the remaining will be 4 and 5. And what was the time required for you to put these 3 and 3 chocolates into a single box? It is 6, right? You will add 6 to your answer. Next, we'll take both of them. So 6 plus 4 is 10, right? So in this box we have 10 chocolates, and to put this 6 and 4 chocolates into a single box, we took 10 seconds. So we'll add that to your answer, and then the remaining box is only 5 chocolates. Now if you add both of them, we'll get 15. And what is the time required to put all of these chocolates into a new box? It is 15. So you'll add 15. And now you are able to see only one box. Now, the moment you see the one box, then you just have to add all of your answers. So 3 plus 6 is 9, 9 plus 10 is 19, and 19 plus 15 is 34. So that's your answer, my guys. So if you see here, so 34 was your answer, right? So that's how you do it, my friends. Now, so this is this is how you will be understanding, but how to do that, do the same thing in code. So now we will discuss how we gonna solve this using code, right? Now before seeing the actual code, now I will tell you like how to approach this problem, right? So first, after sorting this, you will get this, right? So 1 2 3 4 5. Now, so this is your array. Now after sorting, your array will look something like this. Now these are your indices. Now what you have to do is, so there is a technique called as prefix sum, right? So prefix sum, so in which we will keep on adding the numbers, right? We'll keep finding the sum at every index, right? Now according to this question, so we are having this, okay, so 0 1 2 3 4. Okay, now since there is only one since we are having only one index, so to add we need two numbers, right? But at the first index we'll be able to get only one number, so we'll not be able to do anything, right? So either we may ignore it and keep 0, or else you can just copy the same element inside, right? Now if you want to find out like what is the sum, so now what we will do is, at every index you will try to find what is sum until that particular index. Now until index 1, what was your sum? So until index 1, your sum was 1 plus 2. Now you will store that in index 1. 1 plus 2 is 3, and you will store that in index 1. Now what is the sum until index number 2? So until index number 2, your sum was 1 plus 2 plus 3. So the sum of 1 plus 2 is available in index 1. So for that 3, you will add the current element. So 3 plus 3 will now be 6. So now we will find out what is the sum until the index number 3. Now until the index number 3 sum, you will be able to get by the sum, the value that you have stored in the index 2. So if you add 4 to that, you will be getting the sum until index number 3, because the element at this index will give you the sum until this point. Now, so if you want to find out the sum until your index number 4, so you can get that by accessing this array element at the current index -1, 4 -1, 3. So that element, for that element, if you add the current element 5, you will get that element, right? Now, after doing this, if you add all of this from index 1 to the end, index 1 to your end, then that will be your answer. So 3 plus 6 is 9, 9 plus 10 is 19, 19 plus 15 is 34. So this is how you're going to solve the problem using code, right? Now I'll show you the code. Okay, so this is how, this is what we are given. So first line will be number of test cases, and for each test case we are given an integer n and an array of n integers, right? So that's why I've created array of size n, right? So to overcome overflow conditions, I have taken long array. You may try integer array as well, right? Now from so now I'll take the array input, then I'll call the function solve, which is taking parameters n and array, right? Now I'll come up here, and what I'll do is, first thing is I need to sort the array. So I'll use the built-in function, which is arrays.sort, and I'll pass array as a parameter, which will sort my entire array. So if I give 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, it will sort the given array into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, after that, what I'm doing, I'm starting the loop from 1, and at every index from there on, I'm adding my current element with the previous index, right? So array of I plus is equal to array of I minus 1. So at every index from 1 onwards, so I'm adding the element at that index with the element at the before index, right? Now, after that, now I'm starting my again a loop from 1, index 1, and I've created an answer variable as 0, so which is initialized to 0. And what I'm doing is I'm starting from the first index and I'm going till the end of my array. I'm keep on adding what are the values at that particular indices, and I'm storing that in my answer, and finally I'm returning my answer. So this is what I have discussed, right? So yeah, so that's it for this video, guys. And in the upcoming video, we'll come up with one more problem, and as always, we'll make it simple for you to solve. So till then, take care. Bye bye. So I hope I was able to explain you the approach properly. So if it helped, please comment, and yeah, please share this video with your friends as well who are preparing for TCS Code Vita. So thank you. Thanks for watching till there. Bye bye.